Go.
Oh, look
there
who it
go.
is. Wait, you got to do this, though. Well, Alana, you can show us your ring later. I know there isn't one. Tony. Sorry.
Now everyone's going to think you're slighting me. Really.
Good to see you. Tony, show us the ring. Come on.
I don't have it on.
No.
I had it on all day at camp for the kids.
So did you let them take it? Did you let them touch it?
Tomorrow I'm going to wear I wear the 13 ring a lot, the back-to-back. Tomorrow I'm going to wear the 06 and the 13 ring so they can take pictures. And
what do the Sacramento Kings camp directors wear? I can't imagine they could come up with much in their closet.
I know, but I'll tell you what, if you walked into the arena tomorrow at camp and you saw the banners hanging all the way, practically on the court with Wade and all those banners, that retired, their uniforms. And then you got the championship banners with the 6 Eastern Conference championships over there. It's a beautiful sight, and the kids are playing on the court where he won 3 championships. Dwayne Wade formed a Hall of Fame career. I mean, what can be better than that? And the kids, they're loving every minute of it.
All right. Speaking of kids, this is a charity event here. So if people have questions for Tony, either Tony, Schwartz, or Fiorentino, throw them in here in the chat. We'll make sure that they get answered because I see people commenting on there. But we need the donations tonight. By the way, yeah.
Well, Ethan, it's interesting that we're on with this because we had a kid in camp for the last 2-3 weeks. He was 2.5 years old when he was diagnosed that he needed a bone marrow operation. They gave him a 10% chance of survival. And he went to Nicholas Hospital. And I talked to the parents all last week. His name is Axel Johnson. And we had, it was just interesting that last week, we always give out different awards. We had the Perseverance Award in the camp among 160, 165 kids. And who better to get the award than a young man who had a 10% chance to live. He fought it for 5.5 years. Now he's a healthy 10, 11-year-old, just loves basketball, smart kid, answers questions right away. I just love the kid, love the story. And if anybody doesn't, is not attached to it emotionally, I got emotional when I introduced him last week to win the award. And, and Jack Nicklaus and Barbara Nicklaus, his wife, are big Heat fans. That hospital has done amazing things. It really has.
All right, and we want to make sure we get the donations tonight. So let's throw in the questions. Manny, you got a couple, and we're obviously going to get Alana in here. The best one first. Aiden, are the Heat going to offer Bam? Should I take that one? I mean, look, there are only – the way it was put to me was there are about 5 to 10 players in the league that might not be on the table for somebody like a Kevin Durant. That's basically the deal. Does it mean you want to trade Bam Adebayo? No. Is he important to you? Yes. Is he considered an anchor to the franchise going forward? Absolutely. But negotiations are negotiations. The Nets have got to get value. The problem, of course, with Bam is you can't have Bam and Ben Simmons on the same team because their contracts cannot be on the same team because of the types of deals that they sign. So that makes it even more complicated. But I know that the Miami Heat's intention is to keep Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo together. And, the Nets may hold Kevin Durant until the season. And I think the Heat are prepared for that. Other teams are prepared for that. So this is described to me as a big game of chicken. There's a lot of teams that are going to be asked to put a lot of things in at the end if you want to get a player like Kevin Durant. So that's kind of the best way that I can put it. Do you want to go? Let's get some questions.
The donation link because people are asking in there how to donate.
Yeah, let's
appreciate the super chats, by the way, but you guys should redirect that money to Nicholas.
Right to donations.
Yeah, direct to donations. We'll take that also. You want to throw that in there, Manny, here on the bottom? Could we get that link in there as well so that the people can see that one? And then we'll get to some of the super chats. Alana, I want to go to you on this, and then we'll bring Tony back in. This offseason has been described as the worst offseason in NBA, the least interesting offseason in NBA history because Kevin Durant basically froze it. It's fair, right?
I mean, are we surprised? Everyone knows my feelings on KD. Great player, but this man is like the king of seeking attention. So I don't know. It's been boring, but at the same time, like I'm not surprised that it's him holding everyone up. So I'm fine with them running it back if that's what they believe in. You know me, I'm not one of those crazy Heat Twitter fanatics. So it's been slow, but I do think that at some point something's got to give.
All right, let's get to some more of these. Again, do we get the donation link up there? I haven't seen it yet.
We just went over 850, so we just got a couple of donations, so that's good.
Okay, so
Coach, obviously good to see you.
Hey,
Appreciate
what's
you
up,
coming on. I was nervous you were going to tell a story about you kicking me out of camp when I was in middle school at Heat Camp, but
I almost did. Yeah, I almost did. He was with a bunch of boys. He was very impressionable. One of the kids threw a sneaker at somebody, and Sean came very close. It's a good thing I knew your mom, Sean.
I appreciate that. I've tried to mature a little bit since then.
You've been great. You've been great.
Tony,
you know what?
I just want to ask Tony one thing about the camps before I go forward, because I know you have a lot of players come through the camps. I've been to a lot of them that go. Give me, you don't have to tell me who, the bottom end. Who was the most enthusiastic player you've ever had at one of those camps?
Well, they've all been great. What's interesting is, and Michael Lissack does an unbelievable job getting us a player every week. It's not easy to do in the off season because guys are on vacation pretty much, and they're in and out of Miami. But I thought it was interesting because it makes my job easier in the camp to explain things to kids. We've had 7 weeks of camp now. We're in our 7th week, 7 straight weeks of camp. This is our 5th week at the arena. And the players that we've had this year are Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, and Udonis Haslam. We had Glenn Rice up in Deerfield Beach. He took the picture with the kids. They take pictures with the kids and they give autographs. And UD's going to be here twice. What do all those guys have in common? Not taking Glenn Rice out of the picture.
All undrafted.
All undrafted. Very good, Ethan. All undrafted. And we always keep talking to the kids about perseverance and you just got to work hard to get where you want to go. If you want to be an NBA player, keep that dream alive, have a backup. And then we tell them the other things that you can be. If you don't make the NBA, you could be the team trainer. You could be a coach, an announcer. Like the jobs that I've had with Heat. I've worn about 6 different hats since I've been here, 34 years. And so we tell the kids all these things. And these guys come in and they're great, and I bring it up to them. Recently we had Max Strus in camp and he ate that up. Where he was at a Division II school, and then Duncan was at a Division III school, and look how they made it. So it's been a really exciting summer for the kids and for us, having 5 weeks at the arena.
Crazy stat from last year that we unearthed at one point was until Victor Oladipo played, the Heat were the only team in the league that didn't have a top 11 pick, because Indiana had the 11th pick. That had played to that point in the season. Then Vic screwed it up by playing because he was the number 2
second pick. Yeah,
he was the number 2 overall pick. I do want to get to one more thing on Tony, and then again pivot a little bit, but just about talking about free agency in general, and not this particular free agent season, but just generally, it seems to me like, and I'm curious for your perspective on this. Fans are more interested in the transaction season than the game season these days. Is that fair? Do you notice that?
I think it's more in football, but I think that's the world we live in now. Social media, everything's 2 seconds away. I remember when we had the camp back in 14, the summer of 14. I'm ready to finish the camp, and the kids come in and say LeBron left. They knew before I did. They all had phones. I was busy. I didn't have a chance to go but they all knew. They all came in and said LeBron left. And my only comment to them, with all the parents being there ready to pick the kids up, I said, let me tell you something. I have a lot of respect for LeBron. He did a great job the 4 years here. But it's more important that Mickey Harrison and Pat Riley stay and LeBron leave than the other way around. And it proved, hey, that was an easy one to say.
I think they might have known LeBron left before a lot of other people knew LeBron left. Unfortunately,
officially. Well, the kids, the kids.
Well, the kids always
know.
Talking about. That's kind of how this works. All right, Sean pivoted. By the way, the donation link is in our chat. So if you go to our chat, you can do that. And obviously, we'll get to the super chats. Sean, take it away.
Yeah, obviously we're talking about the Spoelstras here, and you're someone that has seen his rise from the film room all the way up to being a Hall of Fame coach now. What what have you seen from your perspective, kind of his growth as, different roles through the Heat organization and where he's at now?
Well, it's a good story about that, Sean. When Pat Riley first came, one of the questions he asked me, having been here for 7 years and being on the staff for 7 years, was about Spoelstra. And he said, do we have a video coordinator that is a computer guy learning basketball, or is he a basketball guy learning computers? I said, no, coach, he's a basketball guy learning computers. Because when Erik Spoelstra first came, he locked himself literally. He lived in the video room for a while, learning how to do all of that. And it was at that point, right when he came, that the Heat got a video room. We didn't have a video. I was really the first video coordinator because unofficially, because as one of his first assistant coaches, I had to put the tapes together with 2 TVs, 2 VCRs. You look at the video room now. And what was interesting was I had to deal a lot with Erik when I was assistant coach on Pat Riley's staff, because Erik was the video guy. And Pat Riley was one of the first guys, I think, in the NBA to do this particular thing during the game. At halftime, we would have a tape in the VCR of with about 3 minutes left in the first half. I would make notes on what we should put on the tape. And if we were having a bad night that night, guarding a pick and roll, if we weren't doing a good job guarding a low post, or whatever it was, I would go in and tell Erik Spoelstra, these are the times, put these plays, if you can, on the tape. And then we would walk into the locker room in the old building, and I would say, the old arena, and I would say to Coach Riley, this is what's on the tape. Then he would decide at halftime if he would show it to the team. Rather than talk about it, he can show them, which is unbelievable. And Erik would always add something that maybe I missed, or was something he thought was important. And he also did the scouting reports. We would come back from scouting, and he would make the video for the scouting report. He would put up, and sometimes he would watch a tape that none of the rest of us didn't watch. We didn't have the time to do that, and he would add things to it. And I think that's where Coach and a lot of people started to realize we got a brilliant guy doing the video work. And then little by little, he became an assistant on Stan Van Gundy's staff. And then he was on the staff when we won the first championship. And Pat Riley could see firsthand every day how brilliant he was, how good he is. And I think the first season really showed me, just reinforced everything I thought about him. You'll recall his first season as the head coach of the Heat, we drafted Michael Beasley with the second pick. Now, he was in the organization, Erik Spoelstra was, for a while now, and he loved Udonis like all of us did. We all respected and loved Udonis. He felt that we were a better team with Beasley starting and UD coming off the bench. And he had to go tell UD that. That was the first very difficult decision that he had to make. And he made it as a rookie coach. Now, UD wasn't happy about it, but he did it because he's always been a team player. And look at the result of the whole thing. So yeah. I think there were many signs that he was going to do a brilliant job. And in fact, when I was on the air with Erik for many years, I predicted that that Coach Spoelstra was on the fast track to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And now, last few years, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. But you see, top 15 of all time. I personally think, he's the best. He's the best coach in the NBA, and that's not demeaning anybody else. It's really just he is. And there's other people that feel the same way. But he's just a brilliant coach. He is, and a great person. He hasn't changed a bit since he was in the video room as a person.
Tony, I don't know if you remember, about a year ago, me and you had a conversation, and it was right after the pandemic had hit. And we were talking about how much purpose you found in the junior NBA and the junior Heat. Can you tell me some of the lessons that you've picked up along the way from working with these kids every single year, just in and out? Like you seem to have such a passion for doing it, and seeing the court filled today. You had 2 courts out there with kids.
Oh yeah.
It was a really beautiful thing. What have you picked up from them? What lessons have you learned along the way of doing the junior NBA as opposed to coaching and everything else?
Well, I'm a former teacher, and I saw firsthand bullying, for example, in the schools where I coached and taught. And so we started an anti-bullying campaign with the Junior Heat program. And as an extension of that, I do a lot of speaking to the kids about kindness, about I did it today. We have a positive camp. Nobody says anything negative to each other. If you win the game, you do it with class. You lose the game, you do it with class. All those sort of things. And so that's the main theme. When you go home, do a chore without being told. Make somebody smile today. I tell them stories about that. I tell them a great story about Dwayne Wade. True story about, it must be about 7-8 years ago now. We were walking out of the arena in Washington after playing the Wizards, and I happened to be walking out with Dwayne. You got to go around the back and go to the buses. And as we turned the corner, there must have been about 20 people there yelling Dwayne's name. They were behind a security rope. They wanted a selfie or an autograph. And Dwayne, I didn't even see this, but Dwayne saw this little 10-year-old, but looked like a 10-year-old kid who was kind of short for his age. The kid looked sad. Dwayne walked over. He knelt down. He goes, "Hi, I'm Dwayne Wade. What's your name?" And the kid was a little reluctant at first. Then all of a sudden, you saw the biggest smile. That kid's going to remember that for the rest of his life. And it's examples like that I give the kids about being kind and about being a good team player like Udonis Haslam. There's so many examples I can use with the Heat culture. We incorporate that into the camp, and we don't count the 5-on-5 results. We play 2 5-on-5 games every day. We don't care about that. It's all about developing your game, turn a weakness into a strength, all of those different things. And there's a theme through all the weeks, and even the awards. We don't care who the best player is. This week, the award, we have 18 teams. We have 177 kids this week. We have 18 teams. One kid from each team is going to win the most willing passer, not the best passer, the most willing passer. And then we got a sportsmanship award that someone's going to win out of 177 kids on the camper of the week. And so every week we have a different award like that, and it all gears to sportsmanship, kindness, be good. Sorry, my dog's doing stuff here. My dog's sitting down on the wire right now. I'm jealous. One of my dogs. So that, to answer your question, Tony, that's basically what the camp's all about.
Sean never flashed in you in a 5-on-5. You didn't think he was going to be an NBA star?
Oh yeah, right. We have Zaslow's kid in camp once in a while. Corey, he's a pretty good player, so it shows you he got it from his mother's side.
Yeah.
I think we could put Brady in the junior Heat camp. Actually, is he eligible? What is the maximum age?
But 7 to 16.
Just well, he came to us as 16. That almost counts.
So much.
There's probably
So here, Tony, you got to answer. Our guy Timothy Bain threw this in the chat. I got to ask you this: how long should Udonis Haslam have a roster spot? How long? How many years?
As long as he wants it.
There you go. That pretty much sums that up.
Yeah, it's a mutual thing. It's a mutual thing between the two.
Oh no, you said it right the first time. You don't have to
he is a valuable asset. Obviously, people don't understand basketball. Don't understand what's going on here. It's part of the Heat culture. It's a big part of the Heat culture. So we'll see. We'll see if he gets that 20th season, if he wants it and if he gets it. And I know his dad wanted him to go 20. Mm-hmm. There's only a handful of people that have played 20 years in the NBA. But I even mentioned it today that UD, who's going to be in camp tomorrow, UD is I looked this up a few years ago. So it's about this, right? The 76-year history of the NBA. There's been about 4,500 players, 4,500 players in the 76 years, somewhere around there. UD is the only player in the history of the NBA to be undrafted, play for one team for 19 years, and be the all-time leading rebounder. And he probably, I don't know if there's anybody else in the league that's more respected than him by his colleagues. That's what he has established for himself.
All right, Sean, I'm going to let you take it from here. We got others who want to jump in here, and I want to cede the floor a little bit. Make sure that you guys are making the donations. It's in the private chat. It's in our comment chat, so you can check that out. We want to get up over $1,000. I can tell you 5 Reasons is going to make a $100 donation at the end of the night. So we will add to what everybody else has done here. So get those donations in for Nicholas Children's. We've got Giancarlo. Alpha are going to be coming in here as well, and we'll get to your super chats too. But thanks everybody for joining us. See, we're at 864, so let's get it over the 1,000 without me putting in the 100, and then I'll put in the 100 as the topper. Okay, so let's do that first before we do. But Sean, you grab it. Thanks everybody for support. Tony, thanks for jumping in.
You got it, guys. Doing a great
sure.
thing. You know, that kid I mentioned earlier, the Heat is the one that had the campaign looking for the bone marrow donor, and they found one. So it all ties together.
That's pretty great. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
You got it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.